Greetings. This is a viewer request from Preya Ma D. Patna. On Black Pill on Steroids community tab, he made a post describing how narcissists interchange love with the word use. I'm going to expand upon it and begin with the comment I left. They view love as a silly notion and as a weakness. Telling them you love them makes them lose respect and they devalue you. In their mind, you must be a fool to love someone who is a faker and abuser. They also see it as a transaction. I will give, show you what you think is love in return for X, Y, and Z. Fuel supply. And they'll use love as a leverage to keep you in your place. The love bombing stage is designed to get you addicted, filled with false promises, future faking, to cause you to abandon and separate from yourself. Your love is used against you. You already were feeling alone, and now you really are. You've turned away from the only person who can protect you, and gone straight into the narcissist's arms. When they say they love you, you're drawn, enmeshed into them, and now you're happy to be there because you don't quite understand what love actually is. These wounds were already there. The narcissist exploits them. They make you fall onto your own spear and present your heart in their hand. You believe they have so much love to give, when really it is you. When you restore where your heart should belong, you will heal. Right, so let's continue. A silly notion. They suppose if you're going to believe in a thing called love and it's available, they're going to take it and deny you from what you're searching for. This is what we use to keep you on the hook. When you say I love you, they see it as you giving permission to their abuse. And through entitlement, will see you as someone who deserves to be abused. They don't know what love is. They don't understand it. You at least have some idea and can feel it. They, on the other hand, actually feel injury when love is close by, because they were never shown it. They are a stranger to it. What they call love was exchanged for adoration and attention. As a result, intimacy is something that makes them feel uncomfortable, because to love or to be intimate is to be vulnerable and requires trust. That's scary to most people and terrifying to the narcissist. You trust love too easily because you have so much love to give. They do not trust at all because all of their life, the world around them is seen as threatening their survival, so they're in constant survival mode. From having received injury, they vow never to trust or to be vulnerable again. Consequently, they are unable to fit into the world, and so they must fit the world around them. This need for control forms into the basis of their denial. Going deeper, they don't trust because the true self of who they were failed them. This is the inner wounded child and is fragile. It wasn't able to cope, thus they created a false self to protect their survival, sometimes referred to as the mask. This is why they're labeled as vulnerable narcissists and how the framework of the mask develops, as a shield to protect. Transaction. Not knowing what to give and believing they are undesirable. Through mirroring, you basically tell them what it is you seek in a partner. It's music to your ears and requires little effort on their part. You essentially fall in love with qualities you didn't know you had. Your own self-doubt prevented you from ever seeing it. That's why it's so potent. It's the definition you were seeking which originates from you. You get the sense of the missing piece, a soulmate, completion, which are indicators you are a fragmented individual. In other words, they see your value and wish to call it their own. You didn't see your value and willingly ascribe it to them. It's a mirror. The love bombing. Initially it's infatuation. The narcissist idolizes you. You appear as the ideal fuel source to quench their never-ending thirst, to counter the fear of their reality imploding. A difference here with a borderline is they're seeking to be rescued. The narcissist isn't, but both appear the same, on good behaviour in fear of losing you. However, no external source is indefinite. They are incapable of self-sustaining, so will always require a supply of fuel. As no one is perfect, you will make a mistake at some point and trigger a devaluing response. But until then, you have raised their esteem. They now feel important, special, desirable. You are a form of drug and they are on a high. Alas, the dose will need to increase, so you'll never be enough. The red flags were there. You just chose to ignore them because you wanted the dream to be real. They told you, sure, okay, if that's what you want to believe. Then it's fast-paced to prevent you from thinking rationally and also to stop others from interfering. You're caught up in emotions and you physically become isolated. And if you get married, you're locked in. They also don't want to have to be on good behaviour for a long stretch of time. Abandoning the self. They already know what it's like to do this. Pressing on your self-doubt, they recognise you're just a few steps away, so separating you isn't really that hard and becomes a primary goal, from having low self-esteem to now destroyed. They see you as someone who gets on with others, so they reflect your personality and you think it's the esteem you are missing. You will be pulled in because it is you they are pretending to be. You're now witnessing an out-of-body experience, watching how others perceive your partner, who is an imposter. You will tie your happiness with them and devalue yourself in the process. Your essence is being split from its body and being manifested right in front of you. To enmesh is to consume. Thereby you cease to exist and no longer matter as your own person. By this point, you're so filled with shame, you accept. Having stolen your identity, your existence is now through them. They grant you life, or so you believe. What you have here is codependency. You can see this on the faces of people, the look of despair with denial holding on to hope. They can feel something isn't quite right, but have lost the ability to trust their gut anymore. It's harder to pretend. They no longer have control of their life. They become withdrawn, which is a survival mechanism of its own. And when this happens, they'll be blamed for not being the same person they once were. Their spirit is suppressed from fighting back. They then take responsibility for the breakdown in the relationship. Flipped around, in truth, the narcissist's existence depends on you. If the narcissist doesn't have their own identity, really they're the one who doesn't exist. This ultimately is the transaction, the exchange, your life for theirs. One must die for the other to live. You are regarded as an extension, and you are expected to sacrifice, because in the world of the narcissist, there is only one person. They already made their sacrifice when they abandoned the true self, and now it's your turn. You're dealing with an entity, a shell of a person, which needs other people to fill it. A person without substance. This is where it can feel like a soulless person, or someone who isn't human, and in some ways that is true. Being human is painful, whereas in the narcissist's mind, being the world or God gets around those problems. The narcissist teaches you these negative behaviours. You see it being put into practice. Over time, you will mimic them. This is sometimes referred to as picking up fleas. If not careful, you will begin to project, blame shift, lie, deny, etc. Because at this point you are no longer you. You are them. You will defend them and justify their bad behaviours. Not only do they seem like the answer, but you won't ever desire letting them go. And in time, this will form the trauma bond. Because if you go or they leave, you will incur the abandonment feeling yet again, and they know this will hurt you. In truth, this is your opportunity to break free and reunite with the self. If lucky, you realize they've been feeding on your reactions. They don't actually have any power over you. The person who keeps you bonded is you. You've invested in what you've called love, and you do not want to throw it away, believing enduring the pain will reward you. You are the one who really creates a trauma bond. And it's the reason why the final discard is really in your hands. It was you who was supplying them with energy. The more you love, the stronger the bond and harder it is to break. In the end, you must find your own closure in order to move on. They will never give it to you, as it's part of their tactic to keep you holding on. Do not make the mistake the narcissist did in thinking to love is a weakness. It's just your love was misplaced. This bond represents loyalty among other admirable traits. It is for someone more deserving, yourself if no one else. In future you will take better care of your love, and it makes it that much more sacred. When you take your power back and start to heal, the narcissist will dissolve, collapse, and the mask slips. You see their desperation and panic to regain control, but usually the cracks are too great to ignore, and the illusion shatters. At this point, the relationship all depends on how intoxicated you are, and whether you're susceptible to being sucked back in. By now, it should be clear this isn't love. This is slavery, and you are to serve, and you will be replaced on a whim when you are no longer of use. You have defined love as abuse. So now the more abuse you receive, the more you think it's love. But it hurts. Oh, how it hurts. You'll die for them, and that's exactly what you'll do if you continue to think like that. In healing, you manage to change your views of the narcissist. They show you the areas, wounds that need healing. It's not really about them, it's about you. They are not your responsibility, you are. In simplistic terms, they recruited you to be their caretaker, and in doing so, you stop taking care of yourself. With self-reflection, you'll wonder how you got into that situation. Usually it's from how you were brought up in early childhood. In likelihood, you were traumatized, perhaps not realizing it, and this plays a part in your meeting with the narcissist. You recognize another wounded person, and perhaps feel the need to save them. You believe in saving them, you can indirectly save yourself. You are the one in need of rescue, and you cannot save them, nor is it your place. Constant survival creates hypervigilance, and plays a part in identifying patterns. It is surmised as intuition. The narcissist uses this to recognize you as a wounded person as well, and it makes you easier prey. To you it may feel like magnetism, but this is not the case. They know you better than you know yourself. When they know your likes, dislikes, thoughts, triggers, they can then predict and control you. That's important, because what that's saying is someone with a childlike mind is able to have power over you. You may notice you share similar wounds and characteristics, but how you both approach it differs. Two sides of the same traumatized coin, trying to fit into a world unknown. It fits together so well, but it is toxic. One a giver, the other a taker. One abandoned itself to allow being manipulated, the other abandoned itself in order to manipulate. Continuing, however, will leave you depleted. The pain they cause is designed in ways that will affect you. Turned around, they wouldn't feel the pain like you do. Trying to attack them is therefore pointless. Narcissism is engineered as the ultimate defense system to avoid pain. So this becomes another area of your healing you need to understand. It can show you what kind of things are important to you and help define what love really means to you. Do not be fooled by unconditional love. That is for children, as they do not know any better. So a little recap. Betrayal. You fear being betrayed, therefore loyalty is important to you. Shutting you down or gaslighting. Being understood is important to you, expressing your thoughts and feelings. Disappearing on you indicates you need company. You fear abandonment. Weaponizing the children. Children are obviously important to you. Lying. Honesty is important to you. Needing to feel love because you sadly weren't shown how or why to love yourself. Why does it hurt so much? Because it matters to you. It's so on the nose you don't see it, but when you do, you can't miss it. If you're the kind of person who doesn't want to rock the boat, you want harmony, you don't want to feel guilt. You made the easy choice and kneeled. The qualities you love in a narcissist are really your qualities. So if they present as someone who's offering a beer, a cup of tea, a sandwich, it's likely something you do. That's you. If they give a caring touch, that's you who gives a caring touch. If they make you smile, it is you who makes people smile. With a lack of empathy, the narcissist cannot relate to what kind gestures mean to a person, how it touches your heart. They do them because they know how you respond. Your empathy fills the gap and you assume there is a mutual understanding. You may still feel like giving them some credit, but remember, they stole these traits from you or someone else. It's a chameleon in action. You have to consider all these various aspects and weigh them together, otherwise you risk cherry picking and having a cognitive bias. You will rationalize and see things with rose-tinted glasses, which is exactly how the narcissist wants you to behave. So that should be a sign to you to put your emotions aside for the time being. Think clearly and be a friend to yourself instead of your own worst enemy. I hope that helps. Each point could pretty much be a video in itself. Everything is interconnected and overlaps into a tangled web. Thank you for your time, and if there's anything to learn from this, it's to treat yourself with the love and care that you deserve.